Oh, hey there. I didn't see you come in. My name is Sam May, and I'm currently a freshman at Purdue. I'm currently undecided about my major, but hopefully someday I'll be one of those film studies students. You know, I'm interested in film, but I'm also interested in music. Yes, music. And not just any type of music either. Indie music, or underground music. And you know, most of our generation does not like indie or underground music. And really, I don't care, because most of our generation are just hip-hop loving, rap dancing tools that I wouldn't have anything to do with. But this brings some interesting questions to mind. Like, why is it all these tools don't like indie music? And what is it about indie music that it's not reaching people? Does the media have anything to do with it? I don't know. All these questions will be answered right after this. Dirty Mind, it's a game. Buy it. Thanks for joining us. We're back. Let's start by defining what indie music is. Well, Wikipedia defines indie music as any number of genres, scenes, subcultures, and stylistic and cultural attributes characterized by perceived independence from commercial pop music and mainstream culture, and an autonomous, do-it-yourself approach. This definition suggests that indie music is not its own genre, but a collection of genres that are only distinguished because they are not commercial or mainstream. I personally do not believe this to be true. Indie music is very different from commercial and pop music, of course, but really there aren't many other genres that it covers besides rock. And I use the term rock very loosely. But there are other genres mixed in there, such as jazz and rap. If you want to classify every artist who isn't well known as indie, then by God, there are hundreds of millions. Okay, maybe not hundreds of millions, but there are a lot. And just because a band is popular does not make it mainstream. And just because it makes money does not make it mainstream. For instance, take the Arcade Fire. They have an upcoming concert in May, and they're playing at the Chicago Theater. The Chicago Theater is a very prestigious theater that holds over 3,600 people. And that concert sold out. This proves that being popular does not define indie music. Now, this is not to say that all indie bands are popular. In fact, if I told you that, I would be lying to you. Well, why is it that most indie bands are not popular? If you think why 50 Cent is so popular and why Beyonce Knowles' booty is so precious to us, you may not have an answer. But if you look hard enough, the answer is everywhere. The answer is media. Yes, media. You see them on TV. You see their music videos on TV. You read about them in People and US Weekly. And by golly, you sure hear a lot of them on the radio. And the more the people like it, the more they play it. And if the public likes it, and they play it a lot, then they get good ratings. And that's how the business works. If MTV all of a sudden started playing indie music, the ratings would plummet and the cable network would eventually be canceled unless they reacted to the demand of our generation. And that's one of the reasons why our generation sucks. Doesn't that seem a little unfair? Isn't that a little one-sided that mainstream stays mainstream and those stars get richer and richer while the indie bands get no media coverage and are only discovered by losers like me that look through movie credits to find songs by undiscovered bands? I mean, of course there are indie magazines out there, but that doesn't help much because there are basically magazines for anything, and no one's going to prescribe to an indie magazine unless they like indie music. What will help indie music out is a new FCC mandate regarding payola. According to reports, the deal will open up 8,400 half-hour blocks of commercial radio time to artists from independent labels. This will definitely not stop, but at least put a moist towelette over the channeling of money from well-off music labels to commercial stations, and in turn put a little dough into the pockets of well-deserving indie artists. There are ways for indie bands to get money, but they usually have to do it by selling out. Wikipedia defines selling out as the compromising of one's integrity, morality, and principles in exchange for money, success, or personal gain. It is commonly associated with attempts to increase mass appeal or acceptability to mainstream society, and the way indie bands appeal to the audience is by becoming more popish. But just because an indie band has money does not mean it's sold out. As long as the sound stays the same, it is not considered selling out. So let's recap what we've gone over. 1. Indie music is its own genre, but there are subgenres. 2. Indie music is not mainstream because it is not accepted by my generation. The media does not give it enough hype or airtime, and Payola is not interested in helping out the little guy. 3. The media can't put a significant amount of hype on indie music because that goes against the public demand. 4. The FCC is now helping put a damper on Payola by giving indie bands 4,200 hours of commercial airtime. 5. Indie bands will not become mainstream unless our generation changes their taste in music. So in conclusion, indie music will never be mainstream, but it's not because of advertisements, and it's not because their music is bad. It's because of the media and their will to serve our generation. Thank you, and good night. Can I get a glass of wine instead of drinking this fucking cranberry juice?